Hey everyone, let's jump right in. First off, I want to mention that this video was created by Zur Maznam, sign-in, a senior lecturer of UiTM CJ. Welcome, law students, to your dedicated review session. Today, we're taking a legal topic that can feel pretty overwhelming, and well, we're making it simple. If you've ever found yourself wondering how those strict, legally binding chains of a contract are finally broken, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to untangle the whole legal web of contract discharge.
Okay, here's our roadmap to release. We've got 4 distinct modes: contract performance, mutual agreement, contract frustration, and contract breach. We're going to breeze through these step by step so you know exactly how a contract is brought to its legal end. Let's kick things off with Mode 1, contract performance. Honestly, in the real world, this is the absolute ideal scenario. It's the most usual, natural, and expected chronological end to a contract's lifespan. It's exactly the happy ending everyone hoped for. All right, grab your pens. Your first statutory signpost is Section 38(1). This section lays down the foundational rule. Initially, all parties are strictly bound to perform their agreed promises. You make a deal, you follow through. That's just the baseline expectation of contract law across the board. So, what does performance actually mean for us in plain English? It literally just means fulfilling the obligations of a contract. Once you do exactly what you promised to do, boom, you're legally discharged. The contract is over. Now, here's a fantastic nuance you'll definitely want for your exams. If only one party performs their side of the deal, they alone are discharged. They get to walk away totally free and clear, while the other party, they remain firmly on the hook. Moving right along to Mode 2, mutual agreement. Here, the contract doesn't end by performance. It ends because of a collective change of heart. People change their minds, right? Business circumstances shift, and the law actually gives you a peaceful way out when everyone is on the exact same page. We're anchoring this second mode directly to Section 63. And what's really fascinating about this legal pathway is the absolute strictness of the rule. It requires the consent of absolutely all parties involved. You cannot unilaterally decide, I'm done with this, and just change it. No way. The crucial point here is that total unanimous agreement is required. You're going to hear some heavy legal terms associated with this mode: substitution, alteration, or rescission. Let's just break those down into simple English. These are really just forms of agreement where all parties mutually consent to either replace the old deal with a new one, change the existing terms, or just completely wipe out the original contract entirely. In short, the original contract is successfully released because everyone simply agreed to kill it or swap it out. Okay, let's move to our third and honestly highly tested mode: contract frustration. This is where things get really fascinating because this is all about how the law handles the purely unexpected. To give you a super clear mental map, I want you to split frustration into 2 distinct buckets. Either the contract itself is impossible from the very moment it's created, or a perfectly good contract suddenly becomes impossible later on. Keeping these 2 separated in your mind will make studying this incredibly easy. Let's look at that first bucket, a contract that's impossible right from the start. For this, we look directly to Section 57(1). This covers deals that, legally speaking, never really had a chance to survive because the core promise is fundamentally unachievable. To illustrate this, the source material gives us this wonderfully memorable illustration: A agrees with B to discover treasure by magic. I mean, you literally cannot fulfill that promise, right? It's an inherently impossible contract, which means it is frustrated right out of the gate. The law simply won't enforce an absurdity. Now let's shift focus to Section 57(2). This covers our second and much more common situation. This is when you have a perfectly good, totally possible contract that suddenly becomes impossible to complete due to circumstances completely outside the party's control. The formal legal term for this is supervening impossibility. Translated into plain English, supervening just means coming afterward. So it's an unexpected or unforeseen event that happens after the contract is fully formed, making performance totally impossible. Basically, something entirely out of the blue came down and ruined the deal. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept. A classic, highly tested example of supervening impossibility is the destruction of the subject matter. Think about it. If you contract to buy a specific car or rent a specific house, and right before the handover that car bursts into flames or the house burns to the ground, the contract is frustrated. The actual thing you contracted for literally doesn't exist anymore. Finally, we proceed to Mode 4, Contract breach. In this scenario, a contract doesn't die by accident, and definitely not by mutual agreement. Nope, it dies by an outright, deliberate failure to act. Things have gone wrong, and someone isn't keeping their word. Bring up Section 40 in your notes. Cement this right now as your ultimate flashcard anchor for discharge by breach. This is the statutory home base for when a promisor fails or just outright refuses to perform their end of the bargain. When this happens, we encounter the terms repudiate and rescind. In the context of a breach, this simply means the law steps in to protect the innocent party. When someone blatantly breaks their promise, the law gives the other party, you, the innocent party, the immense power to just cancel the contract and walk away. You absolutely aren't forced to stay chained to a deal that the other person is actively ignoring. So let's do a quick recap to solidify your review notes before your exams. Our roadmap to release consists of 4 distinct categories. Performance, doing exactly what you promised. Agreement, mutually deciding to change or cancel it. Frustration, when the totally unexpected makes it impossible. And breach, when someone outright fails to perform. These are your 4 keys to unlocking the binding chains of a contract. But I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought as we wrapped up this explainer. Once a contract is successfully discharged, once it's officially dead through one of these 4 modes, what happens next? What legal rights, if any, or lingering obligations actually remain in the ashes of that contract? I mean, who owes who money for work already done? Keep that question rolling around in your head, because understanding the aftermath is exactly what you'll need to master in your next chapter.